Hello, friends, and welcome to Story Time. Today we're going to be reading the book Perfectly Norman, and this book is by Tom Percival. So Tom Percival drew the pictures as the illustrator, and he wrote the words. So this is the front cover, this is the back cover, and this is the spine. Oh, I see a lot of gray here. Perfectly Norman. And it looks like there's some houses here. There's a kite. There's a street, and there's some kids. So I guess this book is going to be about some kids playing. I'm not sure. So this is the title page. Norman had always been normal. Perfectly normal. Look, here he is right here. He's playing with some friends. He's flying a kite. Until one day, he grew a pair of wings. Can you imagine if you grew a pair of wings? Would you like it? Would you not like it? I don't know. Well, he has some wings sticking out of his back. Wow, the dog looks pretty excited. Doesn't the dog look pretty excited? Does the bunny look excited? Bunny looks a little confused. Norman had imagined growing taller. See, he's growing taller. He had imagined growing a beard someday, like his dad. But he had never imagined growing a pair of wings. Still, they were here now, so he decided to test them out right away. Do you think he can fly using his wings? Oh, he can fly! Soon, Norman was swooping around and generally having the most fun ever. But then he had to go in for dinner. You see, Norman had always been so normal, he didn't know how his parents would feel about his extraordinary wings. You think his parents would like it? Or you think they would be concerned and take him to a doctor because they've never seen a kid with wings? He doesn't know. Maybe they would think he's different. So as he went in, Norman covered himself up in a great big coat. His parents didn't notice the wings, but they did think it was odd to be wearing a coat indoors. Let's see, his parents are like in short sleeve shirts, and they're just not wearing coats at all because it's not that cold in the house. And here he is wearing a big coat. So they were a little bit confused. Bath time was problematic. See, he has to take a bath wearing a coat. The coat was hot and uncomfortable, but Norman had decided that no one should see his wings. Not ever. The next day, Norman went to the park, but he was far too hot to play any of his favorite games. Here, all the other kids are playing games, and he just doesn't really want to play. And so it went on. Long car journeys were unbearable. Look how he's wearing a coat. The swimming pool was dreadful. He can't really swim with that big coat on. And that was nothing compared to his friend's birthday party. So all the kids are on the moon bounce, the bouncy house. And he's just sitting there all by himself with the dog. But still, no other kids around. Because he doesn't feel like he can play. He's trying too hard to hide his wings. The only time that Norman could feel normal was when it rained. So when it rained and everyone's wearing a coat and a hood, he fits in just fine. One day, a boy tried to pull off his coat. But Norman had to run away, hot-faced, angry, and sad. He was so upset. He didn't want that kid to take off his jacket, because then the kid would see his wings and his secret would be out. He wished he'd never grown the wings. Oh, he looks so sad. Then he saw some birds high up in the sky, and he remembered the joys of his first flight. Do you remember back in the beginning of the book when he was flying? And he thought it was the most fun ever? So he saw some birds, and it reminded him of that first flight. It occurred to Norman that it was the coat that was making him unhappy, not the wings. Maybe he shouldn't have been so worried about what people would think about him having wings. He wishes he could have wings too, just like the birds now. Why don't you take that scrappy old thing off? Suggested his mom and dad. Norman looked up at them, hesitantly. His parents smiled and nodded. Norman smiled back. Then he threw off the coat and let his wonderful wings fan out. Wow, he can finally stretch a little bit. He now has the wings showing. Norman leapt into the air. Finally, he was free of that coat. He noticed a few other children wearing thick, heavy coats of their own. They looked up at Norman and around at each other nervously. Do you think that all of those kids had wings this whole time? And they were hiding it too? Because they didn't want other people to know about the wings? Maybe. There was a moment's pause. And then, whoosh! Oh my goodness, all the kids had wings. The sky was filled with flying people. Norman had never felt so happy. Wow, he was trying to hide up something, and all the other kids were trying to hide something, and it turns out they should have just been themselves, because maybe everyone is pretty similar too. He realized that there was no such thing as perfectly normal. Everyone's a little bit different, but he was perfectly Norman, which was just as it should be. And now he's happy, he's expressing himself, and he's not worried what other people think either. The end. So this book was called Perfectly Norman by Tom Percival. Thanks for watching, friends. I'll see you later.